There are moments in life that break you in half, moments where you think you know someone, and in a second, that person becomes a stranger. I lived that moment one Tuesday afternoon in the living room of a house that wasn't mine, with a cardboard box in my hands, and my son, my very own son, looking at me as if I were a nuisance. My name is Martha Johnson. I am 59 years old, and this is the story I kept silent for a long time. Because sometimes the greatest pain isn't what is done to you, but discovering who does it. For 32 years, I built a textile company from scratch. I started with an old sewing machine in my garage, working double shifts, endless late nights, meetings with clients who treated me as if I didn't understand anything. But I knew fabrics, sewing, numbers, and most of all, I knew sacrifice. My husband, Robert, died when Ethan was 12 years old, a sudden heart attack one Sunday morning. From that day on, everything fell onto my shoulders. The company, the house, my son's education. Ethan was a quiet, sensitive boy. He loved to draw, spending hours in his room creating characters and imaginary worlds. I dreamed that one day he would take over the company, but I never pressured him. I just wanted him to be happy. I sent him to the best private university in the country. I paid every tuition fee without complaint. When he graduated, he met Vanessa, a tall woman with straight, perfect hair and a smile that never quite reached her eyes. The first time I saw her, I felt something strange, like a chill, but Ethan was in love, and I wanted to see him happy. They got married 2 years later, a big, elegant wedding. I paid for almost all of it. Vanessa chose every detail: the flowers, the dress, the menu. Ethan just nodded. The first years were calm. They lived in a small apartment in Boston. I kept working. The company grew. Everything seemed to be in order, until one day things started to change. It was subtle at first. A call from Vanessa asking about my will, an insinuation from Ethan about when I was going to retire. Small seeds of anxiety planted with care, but I kept going. I trusted my son. And then the crisis hit. A series of bad investments, a dishonest partner who disappeared with $500,000, debts that piled up like waves in a storm. In 6 months, my company went bankrupt. I lost everything: the factory, my savings, the house I had bought with so much effort. One afternoon, Ethan called me, his voice sounding firm, almost professional. "Mum, Vanessa and I talked. You can come live with us. We have a bigger house now in Greenwich, Connecticut." I felt immense relief. My son was extending a hand to me. In the darkest moment of my life, he was there. "Thank you, my love, thank you. You don't know what this means to me. It's temporary, right, Mum? Until you get back on your feet." Of course. Of course. I just need some time." I packed my things into 3 suitcases: clothes, some photographs, a gold ring that had belonged to my mother. It was the only valuable thing I had left. The first day in their house was strange. Vanessa greeted me at the door with a polite, cold smile. "Martha, glad you made it. Come, let me show you your room." She took me to a small room downstairs, next to the kitchen, with no windows, a single bed, and a tiny closet. "You'll be comfortable here. It's close to everything." I nodded. I wasn't going to complain. It was their house. That night we had dinner together. Vanessa made pasta. Ethan talked about work. I listened in silence. After dinner, I stood up to do the dishes. "No, Martha, leave it. We'll talk tomorrow about how to organize things." I went to my room, sat on the bed, and for the first time in months, I cried silently. The next morning, someone knocked on my door. It was Vanessa. She was carrying a cardboard box. "Martha, I need to talk to you." I opened the door. She walked in without waiting for an invitation. "Look, Ethan and I have talked. This can't be a hotel. If you're going to live here, you have to contribute. Of course, I understand. I'm looking for a job. As soon as… No, I don't mean money. I mean helping around the house. She placed the box on the bed. Open it. My hands were trembling. I lifted the lid. Inside was a uniform, black, with a white apron, a housekeeper's uniform. I froze, staring at the fabric, staring at Vanessa. She smiled, a small, controlled smile. Put this on. Sometimes we trust too much in those we shouldn't, right? Have you also been disappointed by someone you loved? Tell me your story in the comments. I want to read it. I couldn't speak. The words were stuck in my throat, as if someone had squeezed my neck. Vanessa was still there, standing, perfectly dressed, looking at me with that expression I had seen on her face before, but had never wanted to recognize. It was contempt, pure and simple. I don't understand, I finally whispered. She sighed, as if I were a slow child who couldn't grasp instructions. It's very simple, Martha. This house doesn't clean itself. I work. Ethan works. And you? Well, you're here, doing nothing. But I can help in other ways. I can cook. You can wear the uniform, or you can find somewhere else to stay. She closed the box and pushed it toward me. Think about it, but think fast. She left the room, closing the door behind her. I was left alone, with that box, with that black uniform that smelled of new plastic. And then the memories started flooding in, like waves, like a river overflowing. I remembered when Ethan was little, 4 years old, maybe 5. We had so little money back then. My husband worked from dawn till dusk, but it was never enough. I sewed from home, doing alterations, hems, prom dresses for the neighbours. One afternoon, Ethan ran into my workshop. He held a drawing in his hands. A drawing of me, sitting at my sewing machine, in a blue dress that was actually grey, but which he had painted blue because he said blue was my colour. "Mummy, you're the prettiest mummy in the world," he hugged me, with that strength that children have when they don't yet know how to lie with their bodies. "Do you know what I'm going to do when I grow up?" he asked me. "What, my love?" "I'm going to be rich, and I'm going to buy you a huge house with a yard, and you'll never have to work so hard again." I stroked his hair. I cried without him seeing me. "I don't need a huge house, sweetie. I just need you to be happy and well, to be a good man." That boy who promised to take care of me, where was he now? I remembered when my husband died, the funeral, Ethan crying silently next to me, barely 12 years old, in a suit that was too big for him, squeezing my hand. "Mum, I'm going to take care of you, I promise." And I believed him. I worked double, triple shifts. I took jobs that humiliated me, clients who treated me as if I knew nothing, nights without sleep, days without eating properly, all so he could study, so he could have a better future than mine. When I opened my first small factory, Ethan was 17. He came with me on opening day. It was just him, me, and Mr. Henderson, my first employee. "Someday this is all going to be yours, Ethan. Everything I'm building is for you." He smiled, hugged me. "Thank you, Mum, for everything." When did he change? At what moment did he stop being the boy who drew me in blue dresses and become a man who could look at me with indifference? I tried to remember, to find the exact moment. Maybe it was when he met Vanessa. She came from a wealthy family, divorced parents, a mother who lived in Palm Beach, Florida, with her third husband. Vanessa spoke with that tone people have, who have never had to worry about money, as if the world owed them something. The first time she came to my house, She looked at everything with that polite smile that doesn't hide judgment. The old furniture, the faded curtains, the small kitchen where I had prepared food for 100 family events. "Cozy," she said. Ethan apologized, as if he had to ask forgiveness for the house where he grew up. After that visit, he started changing, subtly. He stopped coming over as often. When he did come, he didn't stay long. He always had an excuse: a meeting, an engagement, dinner with Vanessa's parents. "Mum, you have to understand. Vanessa and I have a social life. I can't cancel everything to come for dinner every Sunday." "I'm not asking you to cancel anything, my love. I just miss seeing you." "I'm not a kid anymore, Mum." Those words, how they hurt. But I let him go, because that's what mothers are supposed to do, right? Let their children go. Allow them to build their own lives. I never imagined that letting him go would mean being left completely alone. I remembered their wedding. I was sitting in the front row, in a custom-made dress, wine-coloured, elegant. I had my hair done at a salon. I wanted to look nice. I wanted Ethan to be proud of me. During the ceremony, I saw him look at her, at Vanessa, with that absolute adoration, as if she were the only person in the world. And I felt something small and dark in my chest. It wasn't envy, it was fear. Fear that I was no longer enough. At the reception, Vanessa introduced me to her friends. "This is Martha, Ethan's mum. She has a textile factory." "How interesting," said one of them, with not the slightest interest in her voice. Later, during the dance, Ethan led me onto the floor. It was tradition, the mother-son dance. "You look beautiful, Mum." "Thank you, my love. You look very handsome too." We danced in silence for a few seconds. He kept looking toward where Vanessa was. I looked at his face, searching for my son. "Are you happy, Ethan?" "Very, Mum. Very happy. That's all that matters to me." I lied. It also mattered to me that he was still the boy who loved me, but I didn't tell him that. The first years of their marriage were quiet. I kept working. The company was doing well. We weren't millionaires, but we were stable. Ethan worked at a graphic design company, Vanessa in a high-end clothing boutique. I invited them to dinner every 2 weeks. Sometimes they came, sometimes they didn't. When they did come, Vanessa always found something to criticize. The food was too salty, or too simple, or too spicy. It was never right. "Well, Martha, we are used to eating lighter. Haven't you thought about taking a healthy cooking class?" Ethan didn't say anything. He just ate in silence. I smiled, nodded, and kept my words to myself. Because that's what women of my generation do, right? We swallow the humiliation and smile. Because we don't want to cause trouble. I remembered the last Thanksgiving before the bankruptcy. I had prepared a big dinner. I had invited Ethan and Vanessa, my sister, and some cousins. Vanessa arrived late, in a very expensive dress, with very high heels. "Oh, Martha, sorry. We had dinner with Ethan's partners, but we said no. We have to spend at least a little time with family." At least a little time, as if being with me were an obligation, a chore. During dinner, Vanessa talked about their plans. They wanted to buy a bigger house, in Greenwich, or in Beverly Hills. Of course, we don't have the full down payment yet. But soon. She looked at Ethan. He looked at his plate. Afterward, when everyone had left, I found an envelope on the dining room table. Inside was a note from Ethan. "Mum, I need to ask you a favor. Could you lend me $50,000? It's for the down payment on the house. I promise I'll pay you back in 6 months." $50,000. I had it. It was my emergency savings. But I had it. The next morning, I transferred the money to him. He never paid me back. He never mentioned it again. And I never asked him for it. Because that's how mothers are. We give, and we don't ask for a receipt. Now, sitting in that small room with that box on the bed, I understood something. I understood that I had allowed all of this. I had allowed Vanessa to talk to me with contempt. I had allowed Ethan to abandon me emotionally. I had allowed them to treat me as if I didn't matter. Because I was afraid. Afraid of losing my son. Afraid of being completely alone. But now, what more could I lose? I opened the box again. I took out the uniform. I spread it out on the bed. Black, starched, with a white apron that had lace on the edges. A uniform. For the woman who had built a company from scratch. For the woman who had raised a son alone. For the woman who had worked until her fingers bled on that old sewing machine. A maid's uniform. I touched the gold ring on my finger. My mother's ring. It was the only thing I had left of her. The only valuable thing I had managed to save from the bankruptcy. My mother had been a domestic worker all her life. She worked in big houses, in houses where they treated her well, and in houses where they treated her as if she were invisible. She never complained. She worked until the last day of her life. She gave me everything she could. Education, values, and this ring. Daughter, this ring is yours, but promise me something. Promise me you're going to have a different life, that you're going to study, that you're going to be somebody. I did it, Mum. I was somebody, and now I'm here. I put the uniform back in the box. I pushed it under the bed. I was not going to wear it. I still didn't know what I was going to do, but not that. I left the room. I went to the kitchen. Vanessa was there, drinking coffee, checking her phone. Did you try on the uniform yet? I need to speak to Ethan. Ethan already left for work, and he agrees with this, Martha. It was both our idea. I sat down. My legs were shaking. Vanessa, I have always treated you with respect. From day one, I have never interfered in your marriage. I have never criticized anything. Why are you doing this to me? She put down her phone, looked at me, directly in the eyes. Because I can. 3 words. Because I can. And in that moment, I knew. I knew this wasn't just about helping around the house. This was about power, about humiliation, about putting me in my place. Besides, Martha, let's be honest. What else do you have? You lost your company. You lost your house. You have no money. You have nowhere to go. Here you have a roof, food. It's not so bad, is it? I stood up. My hands were shaking so much I had to lean on the table. I'd rather sleep on the street. Oh, Martha, don't be so dramatic. I went back to my room, closed the door, and for the first time in months, I didn't cry. I was too angry to cry. I took out my suitcase. I started packing. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't have a plan. But I wasn't going to stay here. Then I heard the front door. Footsteps. Ethan's voice. I came out of the room. He was in the living room taking off his tie. Ethan, I need to talk to you. He looked at me, tired. Mum, what's wrong? Are you seriously asking me that? Your wife gave me a maid's uniform. She told me that if I want to live here, I have to work as a servant. I waited. I waited for him to say something, to be surprised, to get angry, but he didn't. Mum, you aren't contributing, and we work a lot. The house is big. We need help. I am your mother, Ethan, not your employee. Nobody is treating you like an employee. We're just asking you to help. With a uniform? It's so you don't mess up your clothes. I couldn't believe it. My son, my very own son, defending her, justifying this. Do you agree with this? He sighed. He rubbed his face. Mum, look, you lost everything. I'm giving you a place to live. The least you can do is help around the house. It's not that hard to understand. The least you can do. As if everything I had done for him for 32 years didn't count. As if the years of sacrifice, the sleepless nights, the jobs I took so he could study, as if none of that mattered. You know what, Ethan? You're right. Yes, yes, you are absolutely right. I lost everything. My company, my house, my dignity. But there is something I will not lose. What? My self-respect. I went back to my room, finished packing, 3 suitcases. It was all I had left in the world. When I came out, Ethan was in the living room. Vanessa was by his side. Both were looking at me. Where are you going to go? He asked. I don't know, but I'm not staying here. Mum, don't be stubborn. You're exaggerating. Exaggerating? Ethan, look at me. Look me in the eyes. I am your mother. Do you really think I deserve this? He looked away, and that told me everything. All right, I said. I understand now. I walked toward the door, with my 3 suitcases, with my gold ring, with the little I had left. Vanessa spoke from behind me. When you get tired of living on the street, you know where your uniform is. I didn't turn around. I didn't answer. I opened the door, and I walked out. The sun was setting. The street was empty. I didn't know where to go. I didn't have enough money to rent anything. I had perhaps $300 in my account, enough for a week in a cheap hotel, maybe 2 if I ate very little. But I was going to find a way, because I had survived worse things. And if life had taught me anything, it was this. When you think you've hit rock bottom, there's always a way to get back up. Always. I walked to the corner. I called an Uber with the last dollars I had on my card. I gave the address of my sister Lucy. We hadn't spoken in months. We had a complicated relationship. But she was my only option. As the car pulled away from that house, I looked out the window. I saw Ethan at the door, standing, watching. He didn't run out after me. He didn't call me. He just stood there. And that image of my son letting me go without doing anything, hurt me more than anything Vanessa had said. As I tell all this, I wonder where you might be listening to me. Write the name of your city in the comments. I want to know I'm not alone in this. My sister Lucy lived in a modest neighborhood. Nothing fancy. A 4-story building with no elevator. A small apartment she shared with her husband, Robert, and their 2 teenage children. When I knocked on the door, she opened it with that expression people have when they see something they weren't expecting to see. Martha, what are you doing here? My suitcases were on the floor. My face was probably swollen from holding back tears the entire ride. Can I come in? She stepped aside. Robert was in the living room, watching football. He greeted me with a nod. The kids were in their rooms. Coffee? Lucy asked. Please. We sat at the small kitchen table. She made coffee in an old coffee maker that I recognized. It had been our mother's. What happened, Ja? She asked bluntly. I told her everything. The uniform, Vanessa, Ethan, the way I had left. Lucy listened in silence, drinking her coffee without interrupting. When I finished, she sighed. Martha, you were always too soft on that boy. That wasn't soft. That was love. That was spoiling him. You gave him everything. And look now. I didn't have the energy to argue. Maybe she was right. Maybe she wasn't. It didn't matter anymore. Can I stay here? Just for a few days? Until I find something? Lucy looked toward the living room where Robert was. The apartment is small, Martha. We don't have extra space. I can sleep on the couch. I won't be a bother. I promise. It's not that. It's just, Robert and we're going through a difficult time financially. He lost his job 3 months ago. We're living off my salary, and it's barely enough. I nodded. Of course. Of course I couldn't stay. I understand. Sorry for showing up like this without warning. Wait, I didn't say you couldn't stay. Just give me a few days. I need to talk to Robert. Get organized. Okay? Okay. I stayed that night. I slept on the couch. A sunken couch that smelled musty, but it was soft, and my sister had given me a clean blanket. I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, the water stains, the light bulb that flickered. How had I ended up here? A year ago, I had my own house, my company, employees, respect, and now I was here, on my sister's couch, without a dollar, without a plan. The next morning, Lucy made me scrambled eggs, toast, coffee. Martha, I really am sorry. I wish I could offer you more, but things are tough. I know. Don't worry. I'll find something. Do you have a plan? I'm going to look for work. Anything. Something that will allow me to rent a room, even something small. And your company? Is there no way to get it back? No. The debts were too big. I had to declare bankruptcy. I lost everything. The clients, the machinery, everything. She shook her head. And can't Ethan help you financially? Even a little? I won't ask him for anything. After what happened, I'd rather starve. Oh, Martha, always so proud. It's not pride, Lucy. It's dignity. I stayed at her house for 3 days. 3 days during which I went out every morning to look for work. I walked all over the neighborhood. I went into stores, restaurants, offices. Do you have sales experience? Well, I had my own textile company for 32 years. We're looking for someone younger, someone who can lift boxes. Sorry. Do you know how to use computers? Yes, of course. I handle Excel, email. We're looking for someone with experience in social media, Instagram, TikTok, those kinds of things. Can I learn? We're sorry. Thanks for coming. One after another. Closed doors, looks of pity, or worse, looks of indifference. One afternoon, I went into a fast food restaurant. They were hiring. How old are you? Asked the manager, a guy who couldn't have been more than 25. 59. The work here is very hard. You have to be on your feet for many hours. You have to move fast. I don't know if you... I can do it. I worked in a factory for 32 years. I know what hard work is. Leave us your number. If something opens up, we'll call you. They never called me. The 4th night at Lucy's house, I heard voices, Lucy and Robert arguing in their room. She can't stay here forever, Lucy. I know, but she's my sister. Your sister who always had more than us, who never helped us when we needed it. That's not true. She invited us for dinner many times. Dinner? That's helping. When I lost my job 3 years ago, do you remember we asked her for a loan? Do you remember what she said? Silence. She said her company was going through a bad time, that she couldn't, and 2 weeks later we saw her on Facebook at an expensive restaurant with Ethan. Robert, please, look, I don't want to be mean, but we have our own problems. We can't be supporting your sister. I closed my eyes. I held back the tears. He was right. I couldn't stay here. The next morning I spoke to Lucy. I'm leaving. I already found something. You did? Where? I lied. A friend is going to let me stay with her for a few weeks. Don't worry. Are you sure? Yes. And thank you, really, for these days. She hugged me. A quick, uncomfortable hug. Take care, Martha. I took my suitcases. I left. I didn't have any friends. I had nowhere to go. I walked to a nearby park. I sat on a bench. I took out my phone. I checked my bank account. $120. That was it. $120 between me and the street. I called some former employees, women who had worked with me for years. Martha, it's Martha. Martha, how are you? I heard about the company. That's so sad. Yes. Listen, I'm calling because I need a favor. What do you need? I'm looking for work. Anything. Do you know of anything? Let me think. You know, my cousin has a dry cleaner. Maybe she needs help. I'll give you her number. Thank you, Martha. I appreciate it a lot. I called Martha's cousin. She set up an interview for the next day. The dry cleaner was in a working-class neighborhood. Small, it smelled of chemicals and steam. The owner was named Gabriella, a robust woman, about 40, with her hair pulled back in a tight ponytail. So you worked in textiles? Yes, 32 years. I had my own factory. Huh? Well, this isn't a factory. Here we wash clothes, we iron, all by hand. It's hard work. I can do it. The pay is low, $350 a week, no benefits. Hours from 8 in the morning to 7 at night, Monday through Saturday. I did the math mentally, $1,400 a month, barely enough to rent a room and eat. It's fine. Can you start tomorrow? Yes. Okay. Bring comfortable clothes and be ready to sweat. I left there with a job. It wasn't much, but it was something. I looked for rooms for rent online. I found one 10 minutes from the dry cleaner, $400 a month. A small room in a rundown apartment building, shared bathroom, no kitchen. I took it. The owner of the building was an elderly woman, Mrs. Carmen. She looked me up and down. Are you alone? Yes. No husband? No children? No one. I don't want any trouble here. No parties. No late-night visitors. There won't be any trouble. Payment is due up front, every month. If you fall behind, you leave. I understand. I gave her the $400, plus $100 for the deposit. I had $20 left in my pocket. The room was worse than I imagined. 4 square meters, a single bed with a sunken mattress, a plastic chair, a light bulb hanging from the ceiling, a small window that overlooked a dirty courtyard. The walls had damp stains. The floor was cold cement. I sat on the bed, looked around. This was my life now. I took out my mother's ring. I looked at it. The gold shone even in that dark place. I could sell it. They would probably give me $2,000, maybe more. With that, I could live for a few months while I found something better. But I couldn't. It was the only thing I had left of her. The only thing that connected me to who I had been. I put it away. That night, lying on that mattress that smelled of mold, I cried. I cried for everything I had lost. For the house I had bought with so much effort. For the company I had built from scratch. For the years of sacrifice that now seemed to mean nothing. And I cried for Ethan. For the boy who had promised to take care of me. For the man he had become. For the son I had lost long before I lost everything else. But something happened that night. Something changed inside me. Amidst the tears, amidst the pain, I felt something else, chingish, a cold rage, quiet, but intense. It wasn't rage against Ethan or against Vanessa. It was rage against myself, for allowing myself to get here, for accepting scraps, for believing that love was enough to sustain a relationship where there was no respect. I had spent my life giving, sacrificing myself, putting myself last. And for what? To end up here, in a 4 square meter room, with $20 in my pocket. No, I couldn't end up like this. I was not going to end up like this. I wiped my tears. I sat up on the bed. I turned on the light. I took out an old notebook I had in one of my suitcases, and a pen, and I wrote. Things I know how to do: sew, design patterns, manage, sell, survive. I looked at the list. I had built a company once, from scratch, without anyone's help. I could do it again. I didn't know how. I didn't know how long it would take me. But I was going to do it. Because if life had taught me anything, it was that you don't stay lying on the floor waiting for someone to come and pick you up. You get up yourself, even if your knees hurt, even if your legs shake, even if you don't know where to walk. You get up, and you start over. The next day, I started working at the dry cleaner. Gabriella hadn't exaggerated. The work was exhausting. Steam, heat, ironing for hours, hand-washing heavy garments, carrying bags of dirty clothes. My hands, which for years had handled fine fabrics and industrial machines, were now red, cracked. They hurt every night. But I didn't complain. I worked. And while I worked, I thought. I thought about how I had started my company. I remembered. I had started with small jobs, alterations for the neighbours, hems, buttons, zippers. Little by little, I had built a client base. Then came the dresses, the high school dances, the weddings, and then the school uniforms, the big orders, the contracts. It had taken me 10 years to have my own small factory, another 10 to make it grow. It hadn't been fast, but it had been real. Why couldn't I do it again? One afternoon, during my half-hour lunch break, I took out my phone. I looked for Facebook groups for sewing, for entrepreneurs, for women who sold their products from home. I joined several. I posted. I offer sewing services, alterations, hems, zippers, buttons, custom-made clothing, affordable prices. Work guaranteed. Nothing happened that day, or the next. But on the third day, I received a private message. "Hello, do you make curtains?" I replied immediately. "Yes, what do you need?" "I need curtains for my living room. How much do you charge?" I made a quick quote. Fabric, work hours, finishes, $120. "Okay, when can you do it?" "Next week." Perfect. My first client. It wasn't much, but it was a start. I bought fabric with the money I had left from my first paycheck at the dry cleaner. I worked all Sunday night. My hands trembled with exhaustion, but I finished the curtains. They came out perfect. The client was delighted. She paid me, and she recommended me to 2 friends, and so it began. Little by little. One job, then another, and another. Curtains, cushion covers, pant alterations, simple dresses. I worked at the dry cleaner during the day, and in my room on nights and Sundays. I slept 4 hours, sometimes less. But every dollar I earned, I saved. I put it aside. I guarded it as if it were gold. 2 months passed. 2 months without talking to Ethan. 2 months without hearing from him. A part of me expected him to call, to ask about me, to apologize. But he didn't. And I didn't look for him either. One afternoon, while I was ironing at the dry cleaner, Gabriella approached me. "Hey, Martha, do you know how to fix sewing machines?" "A little. Why?" "I have an old one at home. It's broken. My mum used it, but it's been stored for years. Do you want to see it? If you fix it, I'll give it to you." My heart skipped a beat. "Seriously?" "Yes. It's useless to me anyway, but if you can use it, it's yours." That night, Gabriella took me to her house. We went up to a room full of old boxes, and there it was, an industrial sewing machine, old, rusty, but complete. I checked it. I tested it. The motor worked. It just needed oil, cleaning, an adjustment to the tension. "I can fix it. It's yours." I cried that night, again, but this time, not from sadness, from hope. Because that machine was more than metal and parts. It was a tool. It was an opportunity. It was the beginning of something new. Have you also had to start from scratch? Have you lost everything and had to get back up? Tell me. Sometimes we need to know that we are not alone in this fight. The sewing machine changed everything. I spent an entire weekend cleaning it. Oil, old rags, patience. My hands smelled of grease. But little by little, that old machine came back to life. The sound of the motor when I turned it on for the first time. It was like listening to music. I placed it in my room, next to the small window. It was the only place it fit. Mrs. Carmen, the building owner, came up to complain about the noise. "What is that racket?" "It's my sewing machine. I work at night, just for a few hours." "You can't run a business here. This is a residential area." "It's not a business. I just do small jobs, to earn a little extra." She looked at me suspiciously. "I don't want clients coming up and down all the time. This is a decent house." "Don't worry." But Mrs. Carmen was right. I couldn't receive clients here. It was impossible. I had to figure something out. Clients sent me measurements via text, photos of what they wanted. I sent quotes. I bought fabric at the market during my lunch break at the dry cleaner. And I worked at night. I made deliveries on Sundays, at meeting points, subway stations, coffee shops. It was exhausting. But the orders started to grow. One client recommended me to her sister, that sister to her work friends, those friends to their neighbors. Word of mouth. In 3 months, I was earning almost as much sewing as I was at the dry cleaner. But I couldn't leave the dry cleaner yet. It was my sure income, the solid ground beneath my feet. One afternoon, while I was ironing, I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. It was an unknown number. I hesitated, but I answered. "Hello? Mum?" My heart stopped. "Ethan." "It's Ethan," he said. As if I wouldn't know. As if I wouldn't recognize his voice after having heard it for 32 years. "What do you want?" My voice came out colder than I expected. I wanted to know how you were. Now you care. Mum, please, let's not start this way." "Start this way?" "Ethan, you kicked me out of your house. You gave me a maid's uniform. What did you expect?" Silence. "I didn't kick you out. You left. Because you didn't give me a choice." "There are always options, Mum." That phrase hurt me, as if I had chosen this, as if I had wanted to end up working in a dry cleaner, living in a 4 square meter room. "Why are you calling, Ethan?" Because you're my mum, and it's not right that we don't talk." "And Vanessa? Does she also think it's not right?" Vanessa has nothing to do with this. Of course she does. She was the one who gave me that uniform. She was the one who told me I could wear it or leave. She just… Look, things got out of hand. Maybe it was a mistake. But you also got really dramatic. Dramatic. That word. I see, I said. Anything else? Mum, don't be like that. I'm calling you so we can fix this. Fix what, exactly? Do you want me to come back? Do you want me to put on the uniform and clean your house? No, I wasn't going to say that. I want us to talk, like adults. Okay, let's talk. Are you going to apologize to me? Apologize for what? For letting your wife humiliate me, for not defending me, for making me feel like a nuisance. I didn't do that. You didn't do anything, and that is exactly the problem. Mum, you knew we were going through a difficult time. The house is expensive. Vanessa and I work a lot. We just wanted you to pitch in. Pitch in? Ethan, I am your mother, not a tenant, not an employee. I know you're my mother. That's why I'm calling you. How long did it take you to call me? 3 months? 2.5 months. Oh, sorry. 2.5 months. Much better. I was waiting for you to get over being angry. It's not anger, Ethan. It's disappointment. Long silence. I could hear him breathing. Where are you living? He finally asked. It's not your problem. Yes, it is my problem. You're my mum. Now I'm your mum. 2.5 months ago, I was a nuisance. I never said that. You didn't have to say it. Are you okay? Do you have a place to live? Do you have money? I'm fine. I'm working. I have a room. I'm surviving. What are you working at? I hesitated. I didn't want to tell him. I didn't want to give him the satisfaction of knowing that I, who had had my own company, was now ironing other people's clothes. But I also didn't want to lie. At a dry cleaner. Silence. A dry cleaner? Mum, you're a businesswoman. Not anymore. Now I work at a dry cleaner. And you know what? I'm proud of that job. Because it's honest. And it's enough for me to survive. It doesn't have to be like that. Can I what? Go back to your house? Put on the uniform? No, I wasn't going to say that. I can help you with some money, so you can rent something better. For what? I don't want your money. Mum, don't be proud. It's not pride. It's dignity. There's a difference. All right. Whatever you want. I just wanted to know you were okay. Now you know. I'm fine. Can we see each other? Have lunch together? Talk? I don't know, Ethan. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Okay, I understand. But please think about it. I'll think about it. I love you, Mum. Those words, after everything. I love you. What good were those words without actions to back them up? Goodbye, Ethan. I hung up. Gabriella was looking at me from the other side of the shop. Everything all right? Yes, everything's all right. But it wasn't all right. That call stirred everything up inside me. A part of me wanted to believe him, wanted to believe that he really cared, that he had called because he missed me. But another part knew that something wasn't right. Why now? During the entire afternoon while I ironed, I turned the matter over in my mind. And then I understood. Guilt. Ethan was calling out of guilt, not out of love, not because he missed me, but because someone had probably asked him about me, or because Vanessa had told him it looked bad not to talk to his mother. It was a call to clear his conscience. And I had almost fallen for it. almost. That night, in my room, while I sewed a dress for a high school girl, I thought about my marriage, about my husband, about Robert. He carried his name, although almost no one remembered him now. Robert had been a good man, hard-working, quiet, not very expressive, but faithful. We had met young. I was 20 years old, he was 23. He worked at a hardware store, earned little, but always treated me with respect. We got married a year after meeting. A small wedding, no money for big celebrations. The first years were difficult. We lived in a tiny apartment, the money barely stretched. I sewed from home, he worked double shifts. When Ethan was born, Robert cried with happiness. "He's perfect," he said, looking at our baby. "He's perfect, Martha." He was a good father, patient, affectionate. He loved holding Ethan, playing with him. But Robert was never ambitious. He was content with what he had, living day to day. I wasn't. I wanted more, not out of capriciousness, but because I wanted to give my son a better life. I started taking more jobs, looking for clients, dreaming of something bigger. Robert didn't understand. "Why do you want more? We have enough to survive." "But I want Ethan to study, to have opportunities." "He will have opportunities. Does he need to go to expensive schools for that?" We argued. Not much, but we argued. And then he died. A massive heart attack at 38. Ethan was 12. I remember that day as if it were yesterday. Robert woke up early, as always. He had his coffee. He kissed me on the forehead. "See you tonight, my love." Until tonight. Those were the last words we exchanged. At 11 in the morning, I received the call from the hospital. "Are you Robert Miller's wife?" "Yes." "You need to come to the hospital. It's urgent." When I arrived, it was already too late. He had died in the ambulance. The first months after his death were hell, not only because of the pain of losing him, but because of the fear. How was I going to support the house alone? How was I going to pay for Ethan's school? How was I going to survive? But I survived, because I had no other choice. I took more work. I slept 3-4 hours. I got up at 5 in the morning. I worked until midnight. And little by little, I started building something bigger. From small jobs, I moved on to big orders. From big orders to contracts. From contracts to my own small factory. It took years, but I did it. And during all that time, Ethan was my motivation. Everything I did was for him, to give him the life that Robert hadn't been able to give him. So he would have options. So he wouldn't have to struggle like I did. And now that same son had let me go without looking back. He had traded me for a woman who couldn't stand me. He had made me feel like I was worthless. I stopped sewing. My eyes were full of tears. Not for Ethan this time, but for me. For all the years I had sacrificed. For all the sleepless nights. For all the times I had put myself last. And for what? To end up here, alone, in a room that wasn't even mine. But then something happened. I looked at my hands. My old, wrinkled hands, with scars from years of work. Those hands had built something once. Those hands could build something again. I wiped away my tears. I finished the high school dress. It turned out beautiful, pale pink, with rhinestones on the bodice, flowing tulle on the skirt. The client picked it up on Sunday. She was thrilled. "Mrs. Martha, it's spectacular. My daughter is going to cry with excitement." She paid me $350 and gave me a $50 tip for the beautiful work. $400 in my hands. It wasn't a lot, but it was mine, earned with my effort, with my hands. with my dignity intact. That week, Ethan called again. "Mum, did you think about what I told you? Can we meet?" "Ethan, I'm busy. Working. It'll only be an hour. Coffee, please." I hesitated. A part of me wanted to see him, wanted to see his face, wanted to know if his eyes said the same thing as his words. "All right, but not in Greenwich. Somewhere neutral." "Where?" "There's a coffee shop near the Manhattan subway." "There." "Okay. Saturday at 3? Sunday at 5. Why Sunday?" "Because I work on Saturday." "Okay, Sunday at 5. The days leading up to Sunday were strange. A part of me anticipated the meeting. Another part feared it. What was I going to tell him? What did he expect me to say? Was he going to apologize? Or was he going to keep justifying himself? Sunday arrived. I showered. I put on my best clothes: black pants, a white blouse, clean shoes. I put on light makeup. Not much, just enough so I wouldn't look tired. I looked at myself in the small mirror in my room. I looked older, more grey hair, my face thinner, expression lines more pronounced. But I also looked stronger, as if everything that had happened had hardened me on the outside, but also on the inside. I arrived at the coffee shop 15 minutes early. I ordered a coffee. I sat at a table by the window. I waited. Ethan arrived on time. I saw him enter, searching for me with his eyes. When he found me, he smiled, a small, nervous smile. He came over, sat across from me. "Hi, Mum." "Hello." He looked good. Ironed shirt, dress pants, expensive shoes. He ordered a coffee too. We both sat in silence for a few seconds. "You look good," he finally said. "Thanks. How have you been?" "Working, as I told you." "Yes, about that. Are you still at the dry cleaner?" "Yes, and I'm sewing too. At night. I have quite a few clients now." "Clients? Are you starting over?" "Something like that." He nodded. He took a sip of his coffee. "Mum, I want you to know that I'm sorry. What happened at the house. It shouldn't have been that way." "No, it shouldn't have." Vanessa and I were stressed. The new house, the expenses, everything. "I understand stress, Ethan, but that doesn't justify what you did to me." "I know, and I apologize." "Does Vanessa apologize too?" He hesitated. "Vanessa, well, she has her way of being. She's difficult sometimes, but she's not a bad person." "Ethan, your wife gave me a maid's uniform. She treated me like garbage, and you didn't say anything." "I did say something. Afterward. When you left." "What did you tell her?" "That she went too far. That it wasn't right." "And what did she say?" "She said you were being too dramatic. That it was all your fault for leaving like that." "Of course. So she's not sorry." "She's complicated. But she loves me and I love her. I'm happy for you both." "Mum, don't be like that." "Like what? Honest? Cold?" "I'm not cold. I'm just tired, Ethan. Tired of pretending that everything is fine when it's not." He lowered his gaze. "What do you want me to do?" "Nothing. I don't expect anything from you." "That's not true. You want something. Otherwise you wouldn't have come." He was right. Why had I come? What did I expect from this meeting? "I wanted to see you. I wanted to know if there was still anything left of the boy I raised. The boy who promised to take care of me." "I'm still me, Mum." "No, you're not that boy anymore. And maybe I'm partly to blame. Maybe I gave you too much." Maybe I never taught you to value what you had. Don't say that. It's the truth. I gave you everything, and I never asked for anything in return. And now that I needed you, you weren't there. His eyes filled with tears. I wanted to be there. But Vanessa. Vanessa doesn't own you, Ethan. You chose. You chose to support her. And that's fine. She's your wife. But don't pretend that it doesn't hurt me. It hurts me too. Oh yeah? Does it hurt you? Because you didn't call me for 3 months. You didn't ask where I was, if I was okay, if I had food. Nothing. I thought you needed space. Space. How convenient. He took my hand across the table. Mum, please. I don't want to fight. I want us to fix this. I gently pulled my hand away. Fix what, exactly? Our relationship. You can't fix something that broke this deeply, Ethan. Not this fast. Then give me time. Give me a chance to earn back your trust. Okay, I'll give you time. But I'm not going back to your house, and I'm not going to pretend that everything is fine. I'm not asking you to do that. What are you asking me for then? Not to cut me out of your life. To keep talking. To give me a chance to prove to you that I'm still your son. I looked at him. I really looked at him. And I saw a man. Not the child I remembered. A weak man. Cowardly in some ways. But also my son. Okay, I finally said. We can talk. Once in a while. But no pressure. No promises. We'll just see how it goes. Thank you, Mum. We finished our coffees in an awkward silence. When I got up to leave, he got up too. Can I give you a ride? No, thanks. I'd rather go alone. When will we see each other again? I don't know. I'll call you. Okay. He hugged me. An awkward hug. Brief. I left the coffee shop without looking back. On the subway. Back to my room. I felt strange. Not relieved, not happy. Just empty. As if I had closed a door, but without knowing if it would ever open again. Have you ever forgiven someone, but without forgetting? Have you felt that weight of wanting to believe in someone again, but being unable to? Tell me. Sometimes forgiveness is more complicated than they tell us. The days after that meeting with Ethan were strange. I felt like I was floating in an in-between place, neither angry nor at peace, just existing. I continued with my routine. Dry cleaner from 8 to 7, sewing at night, whole Sundays in front of the machine. The orders kept growing. I already had a small waiting list, 2 weeks, sometimes 3. A client asked me for 5 bridesmaid dresses for a wedding in December. Can you have them ready by December 15th? We were at the end of October. Yes, but I need a down payment to buy the fabric. Of course. How much? Half. $750. Perfect. I'll deposit it today. $750. It was the largest amount I had received since I started over. With that money, I was able to buy better quality fabric, thread, interfacing, invisible zippers, everything I needed. One afternoon, while I was cutting patterns in my room, Mrs. Carmen knocked on my door. Martha, I need to talk to you. I opened it. She had her "I'm here to complain" face on. Look, for several Sundays now, people have been coming to see you, to pick things up, and I don't like that. They are my clients. They only come to pick up their orders. They don't make noise. They don't cause trouble. I don't care. This is a residential area. You can't have a business here. It's not a business. I just do small jobs. Whatever. Either you stop having people here, or I'll look for somewhere else for you to live. She closed the door. I sat on the bed, trembling. I couldn't lose this room. I didn't have money for a deposit somewhere else. And with the orders I had, I couldn't afford to move right now. But I also couldn't stop receiving clients. It was impossible. How was I going to deliver the dresses if they couldn't come for them? I thought all night, looking for a solution. And then it occurred to me. Meeting points. I wasn't going to receive any more clients in my room. I would make deliveries at coffee shops, in plazas, in public places. It was more complicated. It meant carrying the dresses, going out, coordinating schedules. But it was the only option. The next morning, before going to the dry cleaner, I knocked on Mrs. Carmen's door. I'm not going to receive clients here anymore. I'll make deliveries outside. You better not, because if I see one more person coming up, you're gone. Don't worry. That same day, I notified all my clients. Please, from now on, deliveries will be at meeting points. They can be near your home or work, at no extra cost. Everyone understood. No one cancelled. And so I continued, working, sewing, delivering. One Saturday afternoon, after delivering 3 dresses in different parts of the city, I returned to my room exhausted. I collapsed onto the bed, with no strength even to take off my shoes. My phone vibrated. It was Ethan. "Mum, how are you? I haven't heard from you in 2 weeks." I hadn't thought about him. Not even once. I had been so busy, so focused on surviving, that I simply hadn't had the mental space to think about our relationship. I replied, "I'm fine. Busy. Can I call you?" "Better tomorrow. I'm tired." "Okay, I'll call you tomorrow." The next day, Sunday, while I was cutting fabric for the bridesmaid dresses, Ethan called. "Mum? What is it?" "How have you been?" "Good. Working a lot." "Are you still at the dry cleaner?" "Yes, and with the sewing?" "I have quite a few orders." "That's great. I'm happy for you. Did you rent something better yet?" "No, I'm still in the same place." "Is it a safe place?" "Yes, it's fine. Can I come see you? See where you live?" "No. I'd prefer you didn't." "Why?" Because I don't want to. It's my space, and I prefer it to stay that way." Silence. "Okay, I understand. Hey, I wanted to tell you something." "What?" "Vanessa and I are trying to have a baby." My heart stopped. "A baby?" "Yes. We've been trying for several months now. And well, we wanted you to know, because when it happens, we obviously want you to be a part of your grandchild's life, granddaughter or grandson. A baby. Ethan was going to be a father, and I was going to be a grandmother. I should have been excited. I should have felt joy, but I only felt emptiness." "Mum, are you there?" "Yes, I'm here." "What do you think?" "Well, I'm happy for you both, if that's what you want." "Just that? You're happy?" "What do you want me to say, Ethan? It's your decision, your life." "But you're going to be a grandmother. I thought you'd be excited." "I am excited, but I also feel other things." "Like what?" "Like sadness. Because I know that baby is going to grow up with Vanessa as their main maternal figure. And I'll be the grandmother they see once in a while, in awkward meetings, in coffee shops. It doesn't have to be like that. But it will be. Because things between us are not good, Ethan. And bringing a baby into this isn't going to fix anything. I'm not saying a baby is going to fix anything. I just wanted to share it with you. And I appreciate it. Truly. But I need time to process this. Okay. I understand. Does Vanessa know you're calling me? Yes. She? She also wants things to get better between you two. I hesitated. A lot. Seriously? Yes, really. She says what happened was a mistake, that she was stressed. Ethan, Vanessa has never apologized to me. She hasn't even tried to talk to me. It's hard for her to express herself, but she does feel it. If she really felt it, she would call me. She would look for me, but she doesn't. Maybe she's afraid you'll reject her. She has every right to be afraid, just as I was afraid when I was left with nothing and you turned your backs on me. Enough, Mum. I get it. You're still angry. I'm not angry. I'm hurt. There's a difference. He sighed. Well, I just wanted to tell you. When we have good news, I'll let you know. Okay. I love you, Mum. I love you too. I hung up. I stayed sitting on the bed, phone in hand. A baby, my grandchild. How was that going to work? Was Vanessa going to let me see them? Was I going to have to ask permission to hold my own grandchild? Was I going to have to pretend that everything was fine between us so I could be close to that baby? The tears started to fall, uncontrollably. For the first time in weeks, I cried. I cried for everything I was missing out on, for the relationship with my son, for the future with my grandchild that I would probably never have. But in the midst of the crying, something else emerged. Rage. Rage at allowing myself to be in this position. Rage at not demanding more, at not setting boundaries sooner. I wiped my tears. I stood up. I wasn't going to keep going like this. I wasn't going to let my life depend on Ethan and Vanessa's decisions. I wasn't going to wait for scraps of affection. Permission to see my grandchild. Awkward meetings in coffee shops. I was going to build my own life, my own path. And if they wanted to be a part of it, they would have to earn it. The following days, I worked like never before. I finished the 5 bridesmaid dresses. They were perfect. Emerald green, empire cut, flowing fabric, elegant, but comfortable. The bride picked them up 2 weeks before the wedding. Mrs. Martha, they are spectacular. My bridesmaids are going to cry when they see them. I'm so glad. Do you have business cards? I want to recommend you to all my friends and... Yes, I do. I took out some cards I had printed. Simple, with my name, my number, and custom sewing, quality guaranteed. She gave me $50 for a tip for the beautiful work and for having them ready on time. 50 extra dollars. I saved them. Every dollar counted. One afternoon at the dry cleaner, Gabriella approached me. Martha, can I ask you a question? Sure. Do you know how to make uniforms? Like uniforms for companies? Yes. I made a lot of them in my factory. School uniforms, office, restaurant. Why? Because my cousin has a restaurant and is looking for someone to make uniforms for the waiters. I told him about you. Are you interested? How many uniforms? 10 for now. But if they turn out well, he'll need more. He's opening more branches. Yes, of course I'm interested. I'll give you his number. That same night, I called Gabriella's cousin. His name was David. Mrs. Martha, Gabriella told me about you. Can you make restaurant uniforms? Yes. Pants, shirts, aprons, whatever you need. Perfect. How much would you charge for 10 complete uniforms? Black shirt, black pants, white apron. I did quick math. $800, all included. Fabric, labor, finishes. That sounds good to me. How long do you need? 3 weeks? Perfect. Can you come to the restaurant tomorrow to take measurements? Yes. What time? At 10 in the morning, before we open. I'll be there. The next day, I asked permission at the dry cleaner to arrive an hour late. Gabriella covered for me. I went to the restaurant. It was called Home Cooking, a small but nice place, clean, with good decor. David received me, a man in his 40s, friendly, professional. Mrs. Martha, I'm glad you came. Look, what I need is something comfortable, but that looks good. Nothing too formal, but not too casual either. I understand. Do you have a design in mind? Not really, I trust your judgment. Okay, I'll do something classic. Collared shirt, long sleeves that can be rolled up, pants with an elastic waistband for comfort, apron with pockets. Sounds perfect. I took measurements of all the waiters, 8 men, 2 women. When do you need them for? For December 15th. We're having a soft reopening. Can you have them ready before that? By the 10th. Excellent. I'll give you half now. $400. And the rest when you deliver? Perfect. He gave me the money in cash. $400. I left there feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Hope that this could grow, that I could build something real again. That same week I bought fabric. A lot of fabric. Black, white, of good quality. I worked every night, every Sunday. The sewing machine ran until 1, until 2 in the morning. Mrs. Carmen knocked on my door one night. Martha, it's very late. Turn off that machine. Sorry, Mrs. Carmen, I'm almost done. Every day the same story. People want to sleep. I'm sorry. I'll finish earlier tomorrow. But I didn't finish earlier. I couldn't. I had delivery dates, commitments, clients who trusted me. One night, while I was sewing, my phone vibrated. It was a message from an unknown number. Hello, I was given your number. I'm Sophia. I need a wedding dress. Do you make wedding dresses? My heart skipped. Wedding dresses. It was the most complicated, the most delicate, the one with the most pressure, but also the one that paid the best. Yes, I make wedding dresses. When do you need it? By March. I have time, but I want something unique, something I won't find in stores. We can set up an appointment so you can tell me what you have in mind. Perfect. Saturday at 11? Yes. Where? Is there a coffee shop where we can meet? To talk quietly? Yes, there's one in downtown, the Tuscan Cafe. Do you know it? Yes. I'll see you there. On Saturday, I arrived at the cafe 15 minutes early. Sophia arrived on time. A young woman, perhaps 35, elegant, confident. Mrs. Martha? Yes. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. We sat down, ordered coffee. Look, I'll be honest with you. I've been to many stores, and everything I see is too commercial, too standard. I want something different, something that is mine. I understand. Do you have any idea of what you want? She took out her phone. She showed me photos from Pinterest. I like these styles, vintage, with lace, but I don't want anything too busy. I want elegance, simplicity. I love it. I can do it. How much do you charge? This was the hard question. How much was my work worth? How much should I charge? I thought fast. Fabric, time, fittings, adjustments. $2,500. Sophia didn't hesitate. That seems fair to me. Do you need a down payment? Yes, half. To buy the fabric and materials. Perfect. I'll deposit it today. I couldn't believe it. $1,250 for one dress. When can we start? Next week. I need to take your measurements and do some sketches for you to approve. Perfect. I'll text you to coordinate. I left that coffee shop floating. A wedding dress. $2,500. With that money, I could do so many things. I could save. I could buy a better sewing machine. I could rent a bigger place. I could build something real. That afternoon, walking down the street, I passed a small commercial space for rent. Nothing fancy, but with a good location. I peered through the window. It was empty, dirty, but it had potential. There was a number on the sign. For rent. I wrote it down. It wasn't the time yet. I didn't have the money for the rent, or for the deposit. But soon I could have it. I kept walking. And for the first time in months, I smiled. A real smile. Of hope. Of knowing that I was building something that no one could take away from me. Something that was completely mine. That night, in my room, I took out my old notebook. The list I had written months ago. Things I know how to do. Sew. Design patterns. Manage. Sell. Survive. I added one more. Start over. And underneath I wrote, things I will achieve. Rent a space. Hire help. Grow the business. Get back my dignity. Show Ethan that I don't need his pity. Show myself that I can. I closed the notebook. And I kept sewing. Because every stitch was a step. Every dress was proof that I wasn't finished. That I was just getting started. I still wonder, how many times do we have to hit rock bottom to realize how strong we are? Have you also discovered strength you didn't know you had? Tell me. I want to know what made you get up. December arrived with an unusual cold for New York. I kept working non-stop. The restaurant uniforms, Sophia's wedding dress, smaller orders kept coming in. I slept 4 hours, sometimes 3. My hands were destroyed, cut, with new calluses over old calluses. But every night, when I counted the money I had earned, when I put it in a shoebox under my bed, I felt something akin to peace. It wasn't happiness yet, but it was hope. The restaurant uniforms were ready on December 8, 2 days earlier than promised. David received them at his restaurant. He checked them one by one. Mrs. Martha, they're impeccable. The quality is excellent. Thank you. You know what? I'm going to need 20 more uniforms for the new branch we're opening in New Jersey. Can you do it? Yes, of course I can. Perfect. I'll deposit the rest of what I owe you and the down payment for the new ones. He deposited $800, $400 from the first order, $400 for the down payment on the new one. $800 in my account. Added to what I had saved, I now had almost $3,000. $3,000 that I had earned with my own hands in less than 3 months. That night, in my room, I took out the number of the commercial space I had seen again. I dialed. A man answered. Hello? Good evening. I'm calling about the commercial space for rent, in the downtown area. Ah, yes. Are you interested? Yes. How much is the rent? $800 a month, plus 2 months deposit. $2,400 to move in. I had it. Almost. Can I see it? Sure. Tomorrow at 10? Perfect. The next day, I asked permission at the dry cleaner again. Gabriella looked at me curiously. Everything all right? Yes. Just, I have an important appointment. Okay. Don't worry. I arrived at the space exactly at 10. The owner was an older gentleman, Mr. Hector. Come in, come in. Look, the space is not very big, but it has good foot traffic, and the area is safe. We went inside. It smelled damp. The walls were stained, the cement floor cracked, but it had potential. It had a large window facing the street, a back space that could serve as a storage room, a small bathroom, and most importantly, it had natural light. What kind of business are you planning to open? Sewing. A sewing workshop? Ah, perfect. There used to be a stationery store here, but it closed a year ago. I walked through the space, imagining a cutting table here, the sewing machine there, a space to meet clients, a rack to display some pieces. I'm interested. Okay, I need 2 months deposit, and the first month in advance. That's $2,400 to move in. Can I give it to you in 2 weeks? I'm waiting for a payment. All right. But I'm going to ask you to leave me $100 as a retainer, so no one else looks at it. Perfect. I took $100 from my purse, money I had saved for emergencies. He gave me a handwritten receipt. In 2 weeks, if you don't bring me the rest, you lose the retainer. Understood? Understood. I left there trembling, not with fear, but with excitement. A commercial space, my very own space. I was going to have my own workspace. I only needed $2,300 more. I had it, almost. I was only missing about $500. Sophia's wedding dress would give me the other $1,250 when I delivered it, and I had other small orders that would give me about $300 more. I was going to do it. Those days I worked harder than ever. I finished the small orders, a pair of pants, a skirt, 2 blouses. I delivered everything on time. Everything was paid for. And the wedding dress? The wedding dress was taking shape. French lace, A-line cut, open back, short train. It was the most beautiful dress I had made in years. Sophia came every week for fittings goes. Each time she was more delighted. Mrs. Martha, it's perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. It still needs the final adjustments and the hem, but it already looks spectacular. In the third fitting, while I was adjusting the bodice, Sophia asked me, "Do you have children?" The question took me by surprise. Yes, a son. Is he married? Yes. How lovely. Are you going to have grandchildren soon? I was silent for a few seconds. I hope so. You must be excited. Yes, it's complicated. Sophia turned to look at me in the mirror. Complicated why? I don't know why I told her. Maybe because I needed to talk about it. Maybe because Sophia had that energy that makes you feel safe. My son and I don't have a good relationship right now. Things happened, and even though he wants to fix it, I'm not ready yet. What happened, if it's not too intrusive a question? When I lost my company, I went to live with him, and his wife didn't want me there. She made me feel like I was a burden, and my son didn't defend me. Sophia nodded slowly. That hurts, even more when it's your own child. Yes, it hurts a lot. And now? Now I'm here, starting over, alone, and it's okay. I'm learning that I don't need anyone's approval to stand on my own 2 feet. Wow, that's powerful. I didn't have a choice. Sophia looked at me in the mirror, with respect. You know what, Mrs. Martha? You are my hero. I laughed, but it was a tearful laugh. I'm no hero. I'm just a woman surviving. Exactly, and that is heroic. I finished the fitting. Sophia changed. Before leaving, she hugged me. Thank you, not just for the dress, but for sharing your story with me. It makes me feel that if you could get back up after all that, I can handle whatever comes my way, too. That's right. We all can. That night in my room, I thought about that conversation, about how my story could inspire someone else, about how pain, when you process it, can turn into strength. On December 14th, 2 weeks after reserving the commercial space, I had the full amount of money, $2,300 in cash. I went to find Mr. Hector. I gave him the money. He counted every bill. Perfect. Here is your contract. Sign here, and here, and here. I signed, with a trembling hand. The keys are yours. You can start whenever you want. The rent is due on the 15th of every month. Thank you. I took the keys. Cold, heavy, real. I walked to the commercial space. I opened the door. I went inside. The space was empty, silent, smelled of dust. But it was mine. I sat on the floor, in the middle of the empty space, and I cried. I cried with relief, with gratitude, with pride, because this was mine. No one had given it to me. No one had helped me. I had achieved it alone, with my hands, with my effort, with my dignity intact. I took out my phone. I took a photo of the empty space. I posted it on Facebook. After months of hard work, today I opened my sewing workshop, small but mine. If you know anyone who needs alterations, custom dresses, uniforms, anything, I'll be here. Martha's Sewing, quality and dedication guaranteed. I added the address, my number. In less than an hour, I had 20 comments. Congratulations. How proud I am of you, Martha. You deserve it. I'm going to recommend you to my friends. And then, I saw a comment that chilled my blood. It was from Vanessa. That's good that you found something to do. Ethan and I wish you the best. I read that comment 5 times. Every word was a blow. Something to do. As if this were a hobby. As if it wasn't something real. Something important. And then Ethan and I, always together. Always a united front. I deleted the comment. I blocked her. I was not going to let her contaminate this moment. The next few days I spent cleaning the space. I swept, mopped, washed the windows, painted the walls white. Gabriella helped me one Sunday. She brought her husband. Between the 3 of us, we left the place sparkling. It looks beautiful, Martha. Thank you, thanks for everything. Are you going to quit the dry cleaner now? Not yet. I need to have more clients before I leave. But soon. When you quit, let me know, so I can prepare your severance pay. I will. I bought a large work table, a used one, but in good condition, $150. I moved my sewing machine to the commercial space. I put it by the window. I hung a simple curtain to divide the space. The front, for meeting clients. The back, my workspace. I bought an old clothes rack at a flea market. $20. I ordered a sign to be made. Simple. Martha's Sewing. Alterations and custom design. It cost $100, but it was worth every dollar. On December 20th, I officially opened. No clients the first day, or the second. On the 3rd day, an elderly lady came in. Do you do hems here? Yes, of course. I have 3 pairs of pants. How much do you charge? $5 a pair of pants. Okay. When will they be ready? Tomorrow. Perfect. My first client in my own space. $15. But it wasn't the money. It was the symbol. I was doing it. I was building something real. On December 24th, Christmas Eve, I closed the space early. I had no plans, no family to celebrate with. Lucy had invited me, but I had declined. I didn't want to make things awkward. Ethan had sent me a message. Mum, Do you want to come have dinner with us? Vanessa made turkey, I replied. Thanks, but I'm going to spend the night working. I have orders to deliver. He didn't reply. That night, in my space, alone, I finished Sophia's wedding dress. The last stitch, the final adjustment. It was perfect. I hung it on the rack. I looked at it under the lamplight. It was more than a dress. It was proof that I could create something beautiful, even in the middle of chaos, even after losing everything. At 11 o'clock at night, I heard fireworks outside. Families celebrating. I was alone, in an empty commercial space, on Christmas Eve. But I didn't feel lonely. I felt free. Free from expectations, free from disappointments, free from depending on anyone else. I took out my phone. I dialed Ethan's number. He answered on the third ring. Mom, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. I just wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Mum. Are you sure you don't want to come over? We're still awake. I'm sure. Thanks. Where are you? In my workshop. Finishing a job. Your workshop? Yes, I rented a commercial space. I opened my own sewing workshop. Silence. Seriously, yes. When? A week ago. And why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't need to. I didn't need your approval or your opinion. I just did it. Mum, that's incredible. Thank you. Can I come see it? Someday when it's ready. Okay, I understand. Hey, Mum, What? I'm proud of you. Those words. After everything, I'm proud of you. I should have been excited. I should have cried with happiness, but I only felt emptiness, because those words came late. Too late. Thanks, Ethan. Take care. You too. I hung up. I sat on the floor of the space, under the faint light, and I understood something. I understood that Ethan's pride no longer filled me up as it had before, that his approval was no longer what I was looking for, that I had found something more important, my own pride, my own approval, and that was enough. On December 26th, Sophia came for her dress. She saw it. She tried it on. She cried. It's perfect. It's exactly what I dreamed of. I'm so glad. She gave me an envelope. Here's the rest. And something extra. For everything. I opened the envelope. There were $1,500. Sophia, it was only $1,250. I know, but you deserve more. For the work. For the dedication. For everything. She hugged me. Thank you, Mrs. Martha. Not just for the dress, but for reminding me that women are strong, that we can handle anything. We all can. We just have to believe it. When Sophia left, I stayed looking at the money, $1,500. With what I had saved, I now had almost $5,000. I could buy a second machine. I could hire someone to help me. I could grow. But most of all, I could prove to Ethan, to Vanessa, and to myself that I was not a victim. I was a survivor. And I was just getting started. Have you also had moments where you realize you no longer need the approval of someone who used to be everything to you? Moments where you discover that your own voice is enough? Tell me, because sometimes that is the most painful and the most liberating revelation. The new year arrived with promises, not the empty promises people make over champagne flutes, but real promises, commitments to myself. On January 2nd, I quit the dry cleaner. Gabriella hugged me when I gave her the news. I knew this day would come. I'm sad to lose you, but I'm happier to see you grow. I won't forget you. Thanks for everything. for the sewing machine, for believing in me, for everything. Go and conquer the world, Martha. She gave me my severance pay, $350. It wasn't much, but it helped. Now my time was completely mine, for the workshop, for building. The first days of January were slow, few clients. Some people came in, asked prices, and left. But little by little, orders started coming in. A client from Facebook came in for a dress for a graduation. A gentleman needed 5 suits altered. A teacher ordered 15 uniforms for her dance school. 15 uniforms. It was my biggest order so far. When do you need them by? By the end of January. It's for the February festival. You'll have them. She gave me an $800 down payment. With that money, I bought a second sewing machine, used, but functional, $450. And then I made a decision. I needed help. I couldn't do it all alone, not if I wanted to grow. I posted on Facebook, seeking assistant for sewing workshop. Basic experience necessary. Responsible, dedicated. Interested parties send messages. I received 12 messages in 2 days. I interviewed 5 women. The last one was named Patricia. She was 43 years old, divorced, with 2 teenage children. I've sewn all my life, from home, but I've never worked in a formal workshop. Why do you want to work here? Because I need the money, but also because I need to get out of the house. I need to feel like I'm doing something more than just surviving. I understood her, completely. The job is Monday through Saturday, from 9 to 6, $350 a week to start. If it works out, we can negotiate more later. That sounds perfect to me. Can you start Monday? Yes. Patricia started on January 7th. She was good, fast, careful with details. And most importantly, she was reliable. With her, I was able to finish the 15 uniforms on time. They came out perfect. Black leotards, chiffon skirts, with the school logo embroidered. The teacher was delighted. She paid me the rest, $800 more, and she recommended me to 3 other dance schools. Things were growing, fast. But then something happened. On the afternoon of January 15th, I was cutting fabric when someone walked into the workshop. I looked up. It was Ethan. "Mum?" I froze, scissors in hand. "What are you doing here?" "I came to see you. I wanted to see your workshop." "How did you know the address?" "It's on your Facebook." "Of course." Patricia was in the back, sewing. Ethan looked around. The machines, the cutting table, the fabrics hanging up, the rack with finished pieces. "Wow, it's real." "Yes, it's real. How long have you been here?" "Almost a month." "And you already have clients?" "Yes, quite a few." He was silent, watching. "Mom, this is incredible. Truly. Can I help you with anything?" The question took me by surprise. "Help me? With what? Money? Contacts? I know people who might need uniforms or alterations." "I don't need help, Ethan. But it could be faster. You could grow more." "I'm going to grow at my own pace, without anyone's help." "Why are you like that?" "Like what?" "So proud, so closed off." I laughed, without humor. "Proud? Ethan, 6 months ago I was left with nothing. No house, no company, no money. And you gave me a maid's uniform. And now you tell me I'm proud." "I know, and I already apologized for that." "No, you didn't apologize to me. You said it got out of hand. You said maybe it was a mistake. That's not apologizing." "Okay, You're right. I apologize. Truly, what happened was wrong. Very wrong. And I'm sorry. And Vanessa? Does she also feel it? Silence. Vanessa has her own way of seeing things. That's not an answer. No, she doesn't feel it. She thinks you exaggerated, that you left out of pride. Of course, because she doesn't understand what dignity is. Mum, please don't talk about her like that. Why not? Why do I have to keep quiet? Why do I have to pretend that what she did to me didn't hurt? Because she's my wife, and I'm your mother. I know you're my mother. That's why I'm here, trying to fix this. It can't be fixed, Ethan. Not like this. Then what do you want me to do? Tell me. What do you need from me? I looked at him. I really looked at him. And in that moment, I understood. I understood that there was nothing he could do, because the problem wasn't just what had happened. It was who he had become. Nothing. I don't need anything from you. That's not true. Yes, it's true. For months I thought I needed your forgiveness, your repentance, for you to acknowledge what you did to me. But not anymore. Not anymore what? I don't need that anymore. Because I realized something. I realized that the most important person I needed forgiveness from was myself. I needed to forgive myself for letting this happen, for putting myself in a position where someone, even my own son, could treat me like that. And I already did it. I forgave myself, and I set myself free. Tears started to fall, down my face, down his. Mum, Ethan, I love you. I will always love you. You are my son, but I can't carry this pain anymore. I can't wait for you to change, or for Vanessa to change. I have to move on, with or without you two. Don't say that. It's the truth. Patricia came out from the back. She saw the scene. She kept quiet. Ethan wiped his tears. So what? You don't want me to be a part of your life anymore? I didn't say that. I said I can't expect anything from you. If you want to be in my life, perfect. But it's going to be on my terms, not yours, and definitely not Vanessa's. She's my wife, Mum. I can't just... I'm not asking you to choose. I'm telling you that I already chose. I chose my peace, my dignity, my life. And what about me? Where do I fit in? Wherever you decide to fit in, that's your decision, not mine. He was silent, looking at the floor. I'm going to be a dad. The words dropped like stones. What? Vanessa is pregnant, 8 weeks along. The world stopped. A baby. My grandchild. Congratulations. Is that it? Congratulations? What do you want me to say? I don't know. I thought you'd be excited. That... Of course I'm excited. But I'm also scared. Scared of what? Scared that baby will grow up without knowing me. That Vanessa will push me away. That you will allow it. That's not going to happen. It already happened, Ethan. You already pushed me away once. What guarantees me it won't happen again? Because now it's different. It's my child, our child, and I want you to know them, to be part of their life. And Vanessa? Silence. I'm going to talk to her. I'm going to tell her she has to accept you, that you are my mother, that you are the grandmother of our baby. I don't want her to accept me out of obligation, Ethan. I want respect. And if she can't give it to me, then I prefer not to be there. Mum, please don't do this. I'm not doing anything. I'm just setting boundaries. Something I should have done a long time ago. Patricia gently touched my shoulder. Martha, I'm going out for a moment. To buy thread. Do you need anything? No. Thanks, Patricia. She left, leaving us alone. Ethan sat down on a chair, head in his hands. I don't know what to do. You don't have to do anything now. Just think. Think about what kind of father you want to be, what kind of family you want to build. And when you know, we'll talk. And in the meantime? In the meantime, I'm going to keep working, building my life. And when your baby is born, let me know, and we'll see how we proceed. Just like that. It's not easy. None of this is easy, but it's necessary. He stood up, walked toward the door. Before leaving, he turned around. I love you, Mum. I love you too. He left. The door closed behind him. I was left alone, in the middle of the workshop. And then I cried. I cried like I hadn't cried in months. I cried for the boy I lost, for the man he became, for the baby who was going to be born and who I might never know as I should. I cried for everything that could have been, and wasn't. But I also cried with relief, because I had said everything I needed to say, because I had set boundaries, because I had chosen my peace over his comfort. Patricia came back half an hour later. She had coffee. I brought 2, in case you needed one. Thanks. We sat together, drinking coffee, in silence. Was that your son? She finally asked. Yes. You look alike. You have the same eyes. Yes, but nothing else. Do you want to talk about it? No. I'd rather work. Okay. And we worked. All afternoon, all night. Cutting, sewing, creating. Because that was what I knew how to do. I didn't know how to fix my relationship with my son. I didn't know how to make Vanessa respect me. I didn't know how my life would be with a grandchild I might not be able to see. But I knew how to sew. I knew how to create. I knew how to build something beautiful from scratch. And for now, that had to be enough. That night, in my room, I took out my mother's ring. I looked at it under the light. Mum, I don't know if I did the right thing. I don't know if I should have been softer or tougher. I don't know anything. The ring shone, silent. But I know you taught me not to crawl, not to beg for love, not to accept scraps. I put it away again, and I slept. Not well, but I slept. The following days were weird. I expected Ethan to call, to send a message, but he didn't, and I didn't either. Patricia noticed my distraction. Are you okay? Yes, just thinking. About your son? Yes. Do you want some advice? Sure. Let him go. If he comes back, good. If not, that's okay too. But don't cling to him, because that will only destroy you. Are you speaking from experience? Yes, my ex-husband. I loved him so much that I forgot to love myself. And when he left me, I didn't know who I was. It took me years to recover. And now I am me. And that is enough. You're right. I always am. We smiled, and we kept working. On January 25th, a big order came in. A cleaning company needed 50 uniforms by the end of February. 50 uniforms. It was huge, impossible to do alone, even with Patricia. What do we do? Patricia asked. We accept it, and we hire someone else. Do you have the money for that? Yes. And so I did it. I hired another woman, Rose, 51 years old, widow, expert in industrial sewing. When do I start? Tomorrow. And with 3 machines running, with 3 women working, the workshop became something real, something solid, something that no one could take away from me. On the last day of January, I closed the space early. I counted the money for the month. I had earned $4,500. $4,500 in 1 month. After paying the rent for the space, the salaries of Patricia and Rose, the materials, the electricity, I had $1,500 in net profit. $1,500. It wasn't a fortune, but it was more than I had earned in my best month at the dry cleaner, and I was just getting started. I sat on the floor of the workshop, alone, and I smiled, because I had lost my son. At least for now. I had lost the possibility of being the grandmother I wanted to be. I had lost the family I had dreamed of, but I had gained something more. I had gained myself, and that was priceless. I still wonder if I did the right thing, if I should have been more flexible, more understanding. But I also know that I can't sacrifice my peace to maintain a relationship that destroys me. And you? What would you have done in my place? February arrived with longer days, more light, more hope. The workshop ran like clockwork. Patricia, Rose, and I worked in perfect synchronization, as if we had worked together all our lives. The 50 uniforms for the cleaning company were ready on February 20th, 5 days earlier than promised. The manager came to pick them up. He checked them one by one. "Excellent work, Mrs. Martha. Can I place a recurring order? I need 30 uniforms every 2 months." "Of course." "Perfect. I'll send you the contract next week." A recurring contract. That meant stable income, predictable, real. Patricia and Rose were excited. "This is going to grow, Martha." "I know, this is just starting." "Yes, it's just starting." That week I hired a 4th person, Anna, 23 years old, fresh out of a fashion design school. No experience, but a lot of talent. "I can't pay you much, but you can learn and grow with the business." "That's perfect. I'm not looking for money now. I'm looking for experience." "Then welcome." With 4 machines running, with 4 women working, the workshop felt alive. It felt like a home. One day, in mid-February, I was cutting patterns when a young woman came in, maybe 30 years old, pregnant, about 6 months along. "Excuse me, do you make maternity clothes here?" "I've never made them, but I can try." "I just can't find anything I like. Everything is too ugly or too expensive." "Sit down. Tell me what you need." Her name was Andrea. She was expecting her first baby, a girl. "I want comfortable dresses, but that look good. That don't make it look like I'm wearing a tent." I laughed. "I understand. We're going to design something special, just for you." I took her measurements. I showed her fabrics. We made sketches. "How much would it be?" $150 per dress. If you order 3, I'll give you a discount. $400 for all 3. "Perfect. I want them." I worked on those dresses with special care. Soft fabrics, cuts that fit the body without squeezing, warm, feminine colors. When Andrea came for them, she cried. "They're beautiful. I feel beautiful. Thank you." "You're welcome. And congratulations on your baby." "Thank you. I wish my mum could see her. She died 2 years ago." My heart tightened. "She will be with you, always, in that baby." "I hope so." After she left, I kept thinking about Ethan, about his baby, about me. Was I going to know my grandchild, or was I going to be a stranger in their life? I hadn't heard from Ethan in 3 weeks. not a call, not a message. A part of me wanted to call him, ask how he was, how Vanessa was, how the pregnancy was going. But I didn't, because if he wanted me to be a part of his life, he had to show it. With actions, not with words. On February 25th, my 60th birthday, no one remembered. Lucy didn't call. Ethan didn't call. No one. But Patricia did remember. "It's your birthday today, isn't it?" "How did you know?" "You told me a month ago. By accident. And I wrote it down. Yes. Today I turn 60. "Well, we have to celebrate." "No. I'd rather work." None of that. At 6 in the afternoon, when I closed the workshop, Patricia, Rose, and Anna surprised me. They had bought a small cake, candles, soda. "Happy birthday, Martha." I sang with them, I blew out the candles, and I cried, because these women, who had only known me for a few weeks, had remembered. And my son, my own son, hadn't. That night, in my room, I received a message. It was from Ethan. "Mum, can we talk?" I took 10 minutes to reply. "Yes." "About what?" "Can I come see you tomorrow?" "To the workshop." "Okay, at 5. The next day, the day passed slowly. Patricia noticed my nervousness. "Are you okay?" "My son is coming to see me." "And is that good or bad?" "I don't know yet." At 5 o'clock sharp, Ethan arrived. He brought flowers, a small bouquet of roses. "Happy birthday, Mum. Sorry for not calling you yesterday." I took the flowers. "How did you know it was yesterday?" "I've always known, but you didn't call." "I know, and I'm sorry, I was thinking a lot about everything you told me. And you're right." "Right about what?" "About everything. That I haven't defended you. That I've let Vanessa treat you badly. That I've been a coward." I sat down. He sat across from me. "And what are you going to do about it?" "I talked to Vanessa. I told her things have to change. That you are my mother. That you are going to be the grandmother of our baby. And that she has to respect you." "And what did she say?" "She got angry. Very angry. She said I always defend you. That I'm never on her side." "And what did you tell her?" "I told her it's not about sides. It's about doing the right thing. And the right thing is for my mother to be a part of our life. Without conditions. Without humiliation." "And did she agree?" Silence. "No, she didn't agree. She said that if I insist on that, she's going to leave with her mum to Palm Beach, and she's going to take the baby." My heart sank. "Ethan." "But I don't care, Mum. I'm tired now. Tired of choosing between you two. Tired of feeling like I always do everything wrong. I told her that if she wants to leave, she can go. But that the baby is mine too, and that I won't let her keep me away from you." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Did you really tell her that?" "Yes, and I mean it." "Ethan, a baby needs both parents. You can't separate from Vanessa because of me." "I'm not separating because of you. I'm separating because I no longer recognize the person I am when I'm with her. I've become someone I don't like. Someone weak. Someone who allows his wife to treat his mother badly." Tears started to fall. Down my face, down his. "I don't want your marriage to be destroyed because of me." "It's not going to be destroyed because of you. It was already destroyed. I just didn't want to see it." "Are you sure about this?" "Yes, very sure. And I want you to know something else." "What?" "That I admire you. That I'm proud of you. truly, for how you got back up, for how you built all of this. You are the strongest person I know. I'm not strong. I just survived. You are strong. I couldn't have done what you did. I would have given up. I hugged him. A long, tight hug. I love you, my boy. I've always loved you. I love you too, Mum. And I'm sorry. I'm very sorry for everything. We stayed like that, hugging, crying. Patricia, Rose, and Anna watched us from the back, in silence. When we separated, I asked him, "And what's going to happen now?" "I don't know. Vanessa says she needs time, that she's going to think about it. In the meantime, she left with her mum." "How long ago?" "3 days ago." "And how are you?" "Confused, sad, but also relieved. Like I can finally breathe." "Have you talked to her?" "Yes, every day. She tells me she's fine, that the baby is fine, but that she needs space. Give her that space. And in the meantime, think. Think about what kind of marriage you want, what kind of father you want to be." "I will." "Do you want to stay for dinner? I can make something quick." "No, thanks. I need to be alone for a while, process all this." "Okay, but if you need me, I'm here." "I know, and thank you." He left, hands in his pockets, shoulders slumped. My son, my boy, lost, confused, but searching. Searching to be better. And that was enough for now. That night, Patricia stayed with me for a while after closing. "Are you okay?" "Yes, I think so." "Your son loves you, it shows." "I know, but sometimes love is not enough." "You're right, but it's a start." 2 weeks passed. Ethan came to the workshop almost every day. After work, he would sit down. We would talk. Sometimes about important things, sometimes about nothing. He told me that Vanessa was still in Palm Beach, that they talked, but that things were difficult. "She says she won't come back if you continue to be a part of my life." "Then let her go." "Do you really believe that?" "I believe that no one should ask you to choose between your wife and your mother. If she asks that of you, she doesn't love you as she should. But what about the baby? The baby will have both parents, together or separate, but they will have love. And that's what matters." In mid-March, I received a call. It was from an unknown number. "Hello? Martha Johnson?" "Yes?" "I'm calling from the New York Chamber of Commerce. We want to inform you that you have been nominated for the Entrepreneurial Revelation of the Year award." I was speechless. "Excuse me?" "Yes. One of your clients nominated you, Sophia Miller. Do you remember her?" "Yes, of course." "Well, she wrote a very emotional letter about your story, about how you lost your company and rebuilt it from scratch. The committee was very impressed. The ceremony is on April 30th at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. Can you attend?" Yes, I can." "Perfect. We'll send you the formal invitation by email. Congratulations." I hung up. Patricia, Rose, and Anna looked at me. What happened? "I was nominated for an award, Entrepreneurial Revelation of the Year." They screamed, jumped, hugged me. "Martha, that's incredible." "I don't know if I'll win." "It doesn't matter. You already won, with everything you've accomplished." That night I told Ethan, "Mum, that's incredible. I'm so proud of you." "Thanks. Can I go with you? To the ceremony?" "Do you want to?" "Of course. You're my mum, and I want to be there." "Then come." April 30th arrived quickly. I bought a dress. Nothing expensive, but elegant, navy blue. I had my hair done at a salon. I put on makeup. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked different. Not just older, but more dignified, as if everything that had happened had given me a strength I didn't have before. Ethan picked me up. He was wearing a suit. He looked handsome, like his father. "You look beautiful, Mum." "Thanks. You look good too." We went to the hotel, a huge place full of elegant people, entrepreneurs, politicians, press. I felt out of place, but Ethan took my arm. "You deserve to be here more than anyone." The ceremony began. Several awards were given: Entrepreneur of the Year, Sustainable Company, Technological Innovation. And now, the Entrepreneurial Revelation of the Year award. This award recognizes a woman who, against all odds, built or rebuilt a business from scratch. This year, we have 3 exceptional finalists. They said 3 names. Mine was the last. Martha Johnson, founder of Martha's Sewing, who, after losing her 32-year-old textile company, rebuilt her life from a 4-square-meter room to opening her own workshop, currently employing 4 women and growing month after month. Applause. My heart was beating so fast I thought it would explode. And the winner is Martha Johnson. I couldn't believe it. Ethan shouted. He hugged me. "You won, Mum. You won." I stood up, trembling. I walked toward the stage. I went up. I received the award. A glass plaque engraved with my name. The presenter handed me the microphone. "Mrs. Johnson, a few words." I looked at the audience, so many people, looking at me, and then I looked at Ethan, in the front row, crying. I took a deep breath. 7 months ago I had nothing. No house, no company, no money. I only had my hands and the will not to give up. This award is not just mine. It belongs to all the women who have lost everything and had to start from scratch, to all those who have been humiliated and found the strength to get up, to all those who keep sewing, cleaning, working, surviving, because we are stronger than we think. And it's never too late to start over. Thank you. Applause, long, loud. I came down from the stage. Ethan hugged me. "I love you, Mum, and I'm sorry. Sorry for everything. There is nothing left to forgive." We left the hotel. The night was cool, starry. "Do you want to go to dinner?" Ethan asked. "Yes, I'd love to." We went to a small restaurant. Quiet. We ate, we talked, we laughed like before, like when he was a child, when everything was simple. "Mum, I have to tell you something." "What?" "Vanessa and we're getting a divorce." My heart stopped. "Are you sure?" "Yes. We talked about it, calmly, without shouting, and we both agree. It's not working, and bringing a baby into a broken marriage isn't fair. And the baby? We're going to share custody. She's going to live in Palm Beach. I'll live here. But we're going to be good parents, both of us. And you're going to be a part of her life, I promise." "And does Vanessa agree?" "She has no choice. He's my son too, and I'm going to fight for him, for her, for their right to know their grandmother." I hugged him. "You're going to be a great father." "I'm going to try." That night in my room, I put the award on my small table. I looked at it, shining under the light bulb, and I understood something. I understood that this was not the end. It was just the beginning. That I had lost so much, but I had also gained so much more. I had gained myself. And that was worth more than any award. Sometimes life takes everything away, just to teach you that you are enough, that you don't need anything more than your own strength. Have you also had that moment? That moment where everything changes? Tell me. The following months were of constant growth. The award opened doors never imagined. I appeared in the local newspaper, in business magazines. I was invited to give a talk at a university on entrepreneurship. Me, Martha Johnson, giving a talk in front of 100 students who looked at me as if I were someone important. I told them my story, without filters, without sugarcoating. I told them about the bankruptcy, about the maid's uniform, about the 4 square meter room. And I also told them about getting up, about not giving up, about finding strength where you think there is none left. At the end, a girl approached me, crying. "Thank you, Mrs. Martha. My mum just lost her job. She's been crying for weeks, feeling useless. I'm going to tell her your story, so she knows she's not alone. Tell her she is not alone, ever, and that she can start over, as many times as necessary." The business continued to grow. In May, I hired 2 more people. In June, 3 more. We were now 9 people working in the workshop. 9 women, all with stories, all surviving, all building something together. Patricia became my right hand. Rose became the production manager. Anna became the lead designer. And I became something I never thought I would be again. A leader. But not like before. Not with the pressure of having everything under control, of being perfect, but with the humility of someone who has fallen and gotten back up and knows that you can always fall again. In June, Ethan called me. "Mum, she's been born. It's a girl." My heart flipped. "How is she?" "Perfect. 7 pounds, black hair, huge eyes. And Vanessa?" "Good. Tired, but good." "What's her name?" "Eleanor. Eleanor Martha." My voice cracked. "You named her after me?" "Yes, it was my idea." "And Vanessa?" "Vanessa accepted." "Thanks." "Thank you, my love. Can you come meet her? Tomorrow, at the hospital. Does Vanessa agree?" "Yes. We talked. And she wants to start over. With you. With everything." "Really?" "Yes. She says that the pregnancy gave her time to think, to understand many things, and that she wants Eleanor to have her grandmother in her life." "Okay, I'll go tomorrow." The next day, I arrived at the hospital with a small gift, a little white dress that I had sewn myself, with hand embroidery. I knocked on the room door. Ethan opened it. "Come in, Mum." I entered, and there was Vanessa, in bed, her hair pulled back, without makeup. She looked different, more human, more vulnerable. And in her arms, my granddaughter, Eleanor. "Hello, Martha," Vanessa said. "Hello. Do you want to hold her?" I approached, trembling. Vanessa handed her to me carefully. The baby was perfect, tiny, warm, with that wrinkled little face that all newborns have. And when she opened her eyes, I saw Ethan. I saw my husband. I saw my mother. I saw my family. Tears fell uncontrollably. "Hello, Eleanor. I'm your grandmother." The baby looked at me, with those huge eyes, as if she recognized me. "Martha, I need to tell you something." I looked up. Vanessa was looking at me, serious. "I owe you an apology. A big one. What I did to you, the uniform, everything. It was very wrong. Very wrong. And I have no excuse. I was angry with my life, with my decisions, and I took it out on you. And I'm sorry. Truly." "Why were you angry?" Because I also lost things." I lost my dad when I was 15, and my mum married 3 more times, and I never felt important to her. I was always a nuisance, and when you came to my house, I saw you as a threat, as someone who was going to take Ethan away from me. I never wanted to take him away from you. I know. Now I know. But at that moment, I didn't see it that way. I only saw a woman who had had everything, who had been successful. And I hadn't accomplished anything. And I envied you, and I made you pay for my own insecurity. Thank you for telling me that. And there's something else. I saw your award. I saw your interview in the newspaper. And I realized something. That you are the woman I want to be. Strong, independent, resilient. And instead of admiring you, I attacked you. And I'm sorry. Very much. I sat down in the chair next to her bed, still holding Eleanor. Vanessa, we all make mistakes. We all hurt people we shouldn't have hurt. The important thing is to recognize it and to do things differently from now on. Do you think we can start over, you and I? We can try. Thank you. Ethan was in the corner, crying silently. Thank you, Mum, for giving her a chance. Family is that. Chances, over and over again. I spent 2 hours in that hospital, holding Eleanor, talking with Vanessa, laughing with Ethan. And for the first time in a long time, I felt peace. Not because everything was perfect, but because finally there was hope. The following weeks, I visited Eleanor almost every day. Vanessa and Ethan had decided to try again, but differently, with therapy, with boundaries, with respect. I don't know if it's going to work, Ethan told me one afternoon, but we're going to try. For Eleanor. That's all you can do. Try. One afternoon in July, while I was working in the workshop, I received a call. It was from a familiar number, but one I hadn't seen in months. Lucy, my sister. Martha. Lucy, what happened? I need to talk to you. Can I come see you? Yes, of course. An hour later, Lucy arrived at the workshop. She looked unwell, thinner, deep dark circles under her eyes, wrinkled clothes. Are you okay? No, I'm not okay. Robert left me. What? He left 2 weeks ago, with another woman, a co-worker. He left me alone, with the debts, with the kids, with everything. Lucy, I'm so sorry. And the worst part is that now I understand what you went through. Now I understand what it feels like to be left with nothing, with no one, feeling like the world is crashing down on you. Do you need money? No. Well, yes, but I didn't come for that. I came to apologize. Apologize for what? For not supporting you when you needed it, for leaving you alone, for prioritizing Robert over you. You're my sister, and I failed you. It's in the past, Lucy. No, it's not in the past, because now I am where you were, and I don't know what to do, and I thought maybe you could help me. Help me how? I don't know. With advice, with whatever. I looked at her, my sister, who had always had the most stable life, the most solid marriage, the most normal family, and now she was here, broken, like I had been. Lucy, you're going to be fine. Not today, not tomorrow, but you're going to be fine, because you are strong, stronger than you think. I don't feel strong. I didn't feel strong either, but I was. And you are too. You just need time and support. Can I Can I work with you? Here, in the workshop. I know how to sew. A little. I can learn. Do you really want to? Yes. I need to get out of the house. I need to do something. Feel useful. Okay. You can start Monday. Thank you, Martha. Thank you. I hugged her, and I felt her body tremble. We're going to be fine. Both of us. And in that moment, in that hug, I closed a circle. The circle of the sister who hadn't been there when I needed her, but who now needed me. And I was able to give her what she didn't give me. Support, compassion, an outstretched hand. Not out of revenge, not to make her feel bad, but because that's how karma works. Not as punishment, but as a lesson. In August, the workshop continued to grow. We had fulfilled contracts with 6 different companies. We had a 3-month waiting list for custom dresses. Patricia suggested something to me. Martha, we need a bigger space. I know, but this space is too small for us now. We are 10 people and we barely fit. We need something bigger, with better ventilation, more light. You're right. That week I started looking and found a perfect commercial space. Twice as big as the current one, with 2 bathrooms, a huge back area for storage, and parking. The rent was $1,800 a month. It was a lot, but I could afford it. I signed the contract. We moved in September. On moving day, the whole team helped. Lucy, Patricia, Rose, Anna, everyone. We carried machines, tables, fabrics, racks. And when everything was set up in the new space, we stood looking. Look at this, I said. Look at what we built. What you built, Patricia said. No, what we built together, all of us. That night, after everyone had left, I stayed alone in the new workshop. I walked through the space, touching the machines, the tables, the clean walls. And I thought about the whole journey, from that 4-square-meter room to here. I took out my phone. I dialed Ethan's number. Mom, hello, my love. Can you come over? I want you to see the new workshop. I'm on my way. Half an hour later, Ethan arrived, with Elena in his arms. Wow, Mom, this is incredible, right? It's huge. How many people work here now? 10, including your Aunt Lucy. Lucy works here. Yes, for 2 months now. And how is that? Good. She's learning, and she's healing, just as I healed. Ethan handed Eleanor to me. I want my daughter to grow up knowing her grandmother's story. I want her to know that her grandmother lost everything and got it back, and that she built something beautiful. And I want her to know that she can do the same, as many times as necessary. Exactly. I held Eleanor. I walked her through the workshop. I showed her the machines, the fabrics. Look, Eleanor, all this is because your grandmother didn't give up, and you won't give up either, ever, because the blood of a warrior runs in your veins. The baby looked at me with those huge eyes and smiled. A small smile, but real. She loves you, Ethan said. And I love her, I said, with all my heart. That night, in my new apartment, because yes, I had rented a real apartment now, with its own kitchen and bathroom, I sat on the couch. I took out my mother's ring. Mum, I did it. Not as I planned it, not as I dreamed it, but I did it. I have my business. I have my dignity. I have my granddaughter. And I have peace. The ring shone, and I could swear I heard her voice. I always knew you would do it, daughter. One day in October, I received an unexpected message. It was from Vanessa. Martha, can you come have coffee? I need to talk to you. I hesitated, but replied, "Yes, when?" "Tomorrow, at 11, at the Tuscan Cafe." The next day, I arrived on time. Vanessa was already there. She looked nervous. "Thanks for coming." "What's wrong? Is Elena okay?" "Yes, she's perfect. It's about something else." "What?" "My mum is sick. Cancer, advanced stage. The doctors say she has maybe 6 months left. I'm so sorry. And I don't know what to do, because my relationship with her was always complicated, like it was with you at first. And now that she's dying, I want to fix things, but I don't know how. Are you asking me for advice?" "Yes, because you forgave the unforgivable, and I need to know how you did it." "It wasn't easy, and it wasn't fast, but I understood something. I understood that forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you, so you can move on without carrying that weight." "And how do I start?" "Talk to her. Tell her how you feel, what hurt you, but also tell her that you love her, that you forgive her, even if she doesn't ask you to, because when she's gone, you won't have another chance." Vanessa cried. "I'm scared." "We are all scared, but regret hurts more than fear. Thank you, Martha, for everything, for being, for being the example I needed." "I'm not an example. I'm just a woman who learned to get up." "That's more than many people achieve." We said goodbye with a long, sincere hug, and I understood something. I understood that karma is not revenge. It's not seeing the person who hurt you fall. It's seeing the person who hurt you grow. It's seeing that person learn, change, evolve. Because when they grow, we all grow. In November, 6 months after receiving the award, I received a call from a television network. "Mrs. Johnson, we want to do a report on your story, a 30-minute special. Are you interested?" "I don't know. For what?" "To inspire other women, to show that it is possible to start over." "Okay, I accept." They filmed for a week, at the workshop, at my house, with my team, with Eleanor, with Ethan. The report aired in December in prime time. I watched it alone, in my living room with a cup of coffee, and I didn't recognize myself. The woman on the screen was strong, confident, successful, but also vulnerable, human, real. At the end of the report, they showed my final words to all the women who are going through something difficult, who feel like they can't go on anymore. "I want to tell you something. Yes, you can. You always can, because we are stronger than we think, and life always, always gives second chances to those who earn them." After it finished, I received hundreds of messages from women who had lost jobs, marriages, homes, children, from women who thanked me for sharing my story, from women who said I had given them hope. And in that moment, I understood the purpose of everything, the purpose of the pain, of the fall, of the reconstruction. It was not just for me, it was for everyone, to show that it can be done, that it can always be done. One afternoon, while I was closing the workshop, someone arrived. An elderly woman, about 70 years old, with a cane. "Mrs. Martha?" "Yes, I saw your report, and I wanted to meet you." "Nice to meet you. How can I help you?" "I don't need help. I just wanted to thank you." "Thank me for what?" "For reminding me that I'm not finished. I just lost my husband, after 50 years of marriage, and I thought my life was over. But you reminded me that I can start over, at 70 years old, and that is priceless." My eyes filled with tears. "It's never too late. Never." "I know. Now I know. Thank you." She left with her cane, but with her shoulders more upright, and I stayed there at the workshop door, looking at the street, looking at my life, and I smiled. Because karma is not punishment, it is justice. Silent, perfect, inevitable. I had lost everything, and it had been taken away with humiliation. But life had given everything back to me, with dignity, with respect, with love. And to those who hurt me, life taught them, not with revenge, but with lessons, lessons that only time can teach. And that was enough. They once called me crazy, proud, dramatic, and for a long time, those words hurt me. But now I understand that life always collects its debts, not with revenge, but with truth. Vanessa learned, Ethan grew, and I found myself. Have you seen how life balances things? How karma is not punishment, but a lesson? Tell me. Today, as I write this, 2 years have passed since that afternoon of the uniform. 2 years. It seems like an eternity. And it also seems like yesterday. My workshop now has 20 employees. We just signed a contract with a hotel chain for uniforms for all their staff. Patricia is now my partner. Rose has her own design line within the workshop. Anna won a Young Designer Award. And Lucy is the training manager, my sister, who now teaches other women to sew, to create, to get up. Ethan and Vanessa are still together. It's not perfect, but it's real. With therapy, with boundaries, with respect. And Eleanor is 2 years old. She can already walk. She can talk. She calls me Grandma with that little voice that melts my heart. Every Sunday I see her. We cook together. We play. I tell her stories. And someday, when she's older, I'm going to tell her my story. The real one, without filters, so she knows that her grandmother wasn't always strong, that there was a time when she lost everything, when she hit rock bottom, when she thought she couldn't get up. But she did it. Because women are like that. We are strong even when we don't know it, even when the world tells us that we can't go on anymore. The other day, putting things away in my apartment, I found that box. The box with the maid's uniform. I had kept it. I don't know why. Maybe as a reminder. I opened it. I took out the uniform. Black, starched, with the white apron. And I no longer felt pain. I felt gratitude. Because that uniform, that terrible moment, was the beginning of everything. It was the moment where I had to choose between my dignity or comfort, between my peace or the approval of others, between being a victim or being a survivor. And I chose. I chose to get up. I didn't donate it. I put it away again. But this time, in a special place. In a box with other important things. Photos, letters, my mother's ring, my first award. Because everything is part of my story. The good and the bad. The beautiful and the painful. A month ago, I was invited to give a conference at an event for women entrepreneurs. There were 500 women in that auditorium. I told them my story, completely without shame. I told them about the uniform, about the tears, about the small room, about the sleepless nights. But I also told them about the reconstruction, about the first client, about the first dollar earned with dignity, about the award. At the end, a woman approached. "Mrs. Martha, can I ask you something?" "Of course. How did you do it? How did you forgive your son? How did you forgive your daughter-in-law?" I am angry with my family and I don't know if I can ever forgive." "Forgiveness is not for them. It's for you, so you can sleep in peace. so you can move forward without carrying that weight. But be careful. Forgiving does not mean forgetting or allowing them to hurt you again. And how do you know when you're ready to forgive? When the anger no longer keeps you awake, when you can remember without it hurting your chest, when you understand that we are all learning, even those who hurt us. She cried. She hugged me. Thank you. And I thanked her. Because every time I tell my story, I heal a little more. Today, as I close the workshop, I look at my team, 20 women, all with stories, all with scars, all getting up. And I understand that this workshop is not just a business. It is a refuge. It is a family. It is proof that it can be done. I put my mother's ring in my purse. I always carry it with me. And as I walk to my car, I think of her. Mum, I did it. It wasn't how I dreamed it, but it was better, because now I know who I am, and that is priceless. Sometimes they ask me if I regret anything, and I always answer the same thing. No, I don't regret the pain, because it taught me. I don't regret the fall, because it strengthened me. I don't regret losing everything, because I found myself. And that is the greatest lesson, that you can lose everything, your house, your company, your family, your security. But if you don't lose yourself, if you don't lose your dignity, then you haven't lost anything, because everything else can be rebuilt as many times as necessary. Tonight I'm going to have dinner with Ethan, Vanessa, and Eleanor. I'm going to hold my granddaughter. I'm going to laugh with my son. I'm going to talk with my daughter-in-law. And it's going to be normal, simple, beautiful. Because there is no longer resentment. There are no debts. There is no pain. There is only family. Imperfect, but real. And as I drive toward their house, with the sun setting over the city, I smile. Because I understood something fundamental. Life is not about not falling. It's about getting up, over and over again, with dignity, with strength, with self-love. And when Elena is older, when she asks me how I did it, I will tell her. My love, your grandmother wasn't special. She didn't have superpowers. She only had two things, her hands and her will not to give up. And with that she built all of this. And I will give her my mother's ring, and I will tell her. This ring passed from your great-grandmother to me, and now it passes from me to your mum, so that one day it will be yours. And when you wear it, remember, the women in this family don't give up, never, because the blood of warriors runs in our veins. I arrive at Ethan's house. I ring the doorbell. He opens it, with Elena in his arms. "Grandma!" the little girl shouts. I hold her. I hug her. I cover her with kisses. And in that moment, in that hug, I understand that everything was worth it. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt. Because it brought me here. And here is good. Better than good. It's perfect. If my story helps just one woman open her eyes, to get up, to not accept scraps, to value herself, to understand that there is always a way to start over, then every setback, every tear, every moment of darkness will have been worth it. Because the light always comes. Always. You just have to stay standing long enough to see it. Thank you for listening to me until the end. If this story touched your heart, share it, because maybe there is someone who needs to hear that they are not alone, that they can get up, that they can start over. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell to hear more stories of women who turned their pain into wisdom. Every day, a woman, a life lesson. God bless you. And remember, It's never too late to start over. Never.